what if just by doing these affirmations, I raise my own personal perception or my sense of optimism. I'm looking now for opportunities. So I'm spotting things. I'm noticing people, because instead of looking for obstacles, I'm looking for opportunities. Maybe my demeanor is more positive so that that person wants to talk, feels more comfortable about talking to me. They get a good vibe from me, but it's not really based on anything that's overly woo-woo. I'm not discounting that law of attraction could work on that vibrational level, but what if it doesn't? I think it's still just as magical.
Bob, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's so great to be here, Wendy, and join you. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into like the power of positive thinking and, what you're working on now?
Sure. Well, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, right in the heart of the Midwest here in the States. And yeah, I've never lived anywhere else. I don't know if that's an unusual thing these days. I've traveled, but this has been my hometown since my birth. As a kid, so I don't have any, I know a lot of people that end up getting into this field and inspiring others had, some sort of it usually isn't a golden upbringing, I can't say that I had a lot of, I had a bad childhood or anything. I was raised by a single mom, very loving, but for some reason, when I was in grade school and high school, like a lot of people, I had a lot of lack of self-confidence, lack of self-worth. I was sort of a socially awkward, and just like a lot of people just thought that was who I was. These are the things I'm thinking. This is the way I'm behaving. It must be who I am. And then in like my junior year of high school, a friend of mine gave me a book that sort of sent me on a whole new path in life. And it was sure you've heard of Wayne Dyer.
Oh yeah,
the author. He passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, but yeah, one of his first popular book was called Your Erroneous Zone. So we're talking the 70s here when I was in high school. And this friend of mine said, I can tell you're going through a rough time. This book helped me, which for a guy in high school is kind of a cool thing to do back then. And it kind of opened my eyes to that I am not like a victim of my thoughts, that I can actually choose my thoughts, which then influence my feelings, which then can impact the way I show up in the world. And then eventually it can change the results and the circumstances of my life. So that was like the first time, the aha moment, when I realized that I wasn't just the victim of my thoughts, I guess, in my behavior, and so that started me on a path of self-discovery, and read a lot of different authors, became a fan of Wayne's and many other people over the years, and then I've been involved in the arts in many, many ways, as a musician, as a writer, as an author. I've done theater, I've done stand-up comedy, improv comedy. I've listened to a lot of even acrylic painting, visual arts. So I've really heavily immersed in the arts. But I've had 16 books published, or most of them self-published or independently published by myself. And those early books were on like music marketing. They were kind of helping musicians and people in the creative fields to sort of, build careers. And even though it was about marketing and building a fan base and all that, there was always this underlying like positive. I would kind of slip it in there. It wasn't, but I didn't hit people over the head with it too much. But it's always been a kind of a constant in the things that I teach and have taught over the years through my books. And then like 5 or 6 years ago, actually, I was on YouTube. I was kind of going through a little bit of a rough patch myself and seeking out spoken word, like guided meditations and affirmation videos on YouTube, finding some, but many of the things I found I did not like. I didn't resonate with the person's voice. I thought maybe the background music was too loud or too busy or whatever. And so I said, you know what? I know my way around a microphone. I've been an entertainer. I've been podcasting for a while. I said, I think I can create the kind of thing that I'm looking for that I'm not finding. And just out of a sense of play and experimentation, I started putting them on my YouTube channel, and people started listening and liking them. And I just really took a deep dive into and kind of dedicated myself to creating more and more of these recordings. And the channel has grown to, I think I'm probably within the next couple of months, I'll hit 250,000 subscribers. There's over 1 million views across the entire channel every month. And it's just opened up a whole new chapter of my life and career in a unique way to serve, but it's really like my new mission is to transform and uplift humanity one positive thought and one inspired action at a time. So
Nice. But
it's kind
that's
of a
fantastic. That's a lot of subscribers. And so you focus on like affirmations, and I love meditations and listening to spoken meditations. I actually every single day I listen to some type of spoken meditation. But so what are the affirmations that you focus on, and what are the role that affirmations have played in your life?
Sure, sure. And so, yeah, you're right. People can meditate and do affirmations on their own without the assistance of recordings. But some people like to have it guided, like a guided meditation is what you're talking about, where you hear someone's voice leading you and telling you to relax, and maybe picturing some sort of a place where you're envisioning in your mind. So affirmations, I think a lot of people know who they are, but some people don't. So let's go ahead and start with the basics. It's basically, another word for it is positive self-talk. Is purposely making statements to yourself about how you want to feel. So it's setting an intention about the mindset that you want to be in. And like a lot of people, when people aren't familiar with them, and including myself, when you first start doing them, you might feel silly. And if you remember Al Franken, the former senator, he was a cast member on Saturday Night Live decades ago, and he played this character named Stuart Smalley, who would look in the mirror and go, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah,
So
I
it
remember
was
that well.
it was funny, and I laughed at that character too. But he didn't do a great service to, I think, to affirmations by poking fun at them. So if you're not familiar with them, or you first hear about the concept, it's like, that's silly. I'm not going to be saying these things to myself. But it's amazing when you do it and you commit to it, it can change your attitude. Because I like to think that we live our life, like a lot of times we live our lives on autopilot. Like when I was a kid, and I like I said, felt these feelings of insecurity. And I mean, a lot of people just go through their entire lives, or much of their lives, just thinking that's who they are, like I did back then. And so there are tools that we can use to alter that. And so the way we show up in the world, or the way our inclination toward positivity or negativity is often on like I said, like on autopilot, based on the experiences that we've had, things people have told us, things we've told ourselves, and so it's built up this filter through which we see the world, and it's how we perceive whether people are good or bad, or whether there's opportunities, or whether there's obstacles. And so you can alter that filter over time. It doesn't happen overnight, but affirmations are one tool, along with meditation, along with journaling, along with taking care of yourself physically and your health. Like, I know that was a big part of your mission in life. My core spoken word, it tends to be affirmations, and specifically morning affirmations, which I believe is the best time. Like, first thing you get up in the morning, if you set an intention for the day, and they cover a whole range of topics, everything from gratitude, just counting your blessings. I'm so grateful, and for all the people in my life, the things in my life, the places. But a lot of times you can say real simple things like, today I look for and appreciate the good, which just sets a tone. And what if you just kind of went through if you got up in the morning, instead of checking email and thinking about all the issues you got to deal with, you just said, today I look for and appreciate the good. That's going to help you live a better life. I'll just use one quick example, just to, if anyone has any doubt about the way affirmations work and our brains work. So, Wendy, I'm sure this has happened to you too, but years ago I brought a Honda Element. I actually still have it. It's a very unique, kind of boxy shaped car. And prior to that, I'd never even thought of Honda Elements. I didn't even know what they were. But as soon as I owned one and was driving it and liking it and saw it my driveway every day, I started seeing them everywhere. Like literally, it seems like every time I turned around, there's another Honda Element. So what had happened? How do these things? Did I start a new trend, or they suddenly become? No, they were there the entire time, but I started seeing them because they were top of mind because I was focused on it. And so it not only works with makes and models of cars, but it also works with your attitude. And again, are you looking for opportunities more? Or are you looking for the obstacles? Because you'll find plenty of each. Depending on what you're looking for. And so I just think it's healthier to set yourself up to be positive and to create the kind of life that you want instead of the ones that you're just sort of living on autopilot.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to kind of refocus yourself every morning, like you mentioned, because I read a book called The Other 90%, a long million years ago, and it talked about how our brains, its survival mechanism is focused on problems, solving problems. Depression is a survival mechanism to, propel you to action, but you have to kind of override that our brain is focused on problems constantly, and it can make you feel bad. And you have to work on, it's a practice on slowly but surely overriding that survival mechanism to experiencing the joy that I think we all deserve.
Yeah, because I guess that trait, we have to look at it with some sense of gratitude because it allowed our species to survive, right? Without being able to notice when there were dangers in the environment, it kept us alive, fight or flight. It served us well. But now, for the most part, even that most people, I should say, we're not exposed to the same dangers. Not that there aren't dangers in our world and you have to still be smart and aware, but still, but those things kick in and we're not even aware of it, and it treats something minor like somebody cutting us off in traffic like a saber-toothed tiger, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you're right, and so like fear, all these things, and I actually lately have been thinking about how there's a lot of things that are demonized, like fear, like uncertainty. I think if we can, instead of resisting them, that we can actually get on friendly terms. So there's some value in fear. There's some value, but if it debilitates you and stops you from taking action, then it's not healthy. I remember there was a time that I was walking. We were driving through the Rocky Mountain National Park, and we were like miles. It was beautiful scenery, but we were driving on these thin roads next to huge drop-offs. I remember I started getting paranoid about, and I was like obsessed with what could horribly go wrong if I took my eyes off the road. And then I had to relax because it took me out of the moment. I wasn't enjoying the beauty because of this sort of fear or paranoia. So I just stopped. I took a breath and I said, okay, what are you trying to tell me? It's just saying, well, just to be careful. You have a long life to live. I want you to be around a long time. And so when I realized that was the message, I say, okay, I can hear that. And I just accepted it. And then I let that intense fear go. And it's when on my drive, I was paying attention, it was present, and then I got to enjoy. So sometimes you just have to ask it, what is it trying to tell me? What's the gift or the message here? And then let it go.
Yeah, I totally understand. I had the same experience in Crete. I went maybe a couple of summers ago, and I was lots of hills. I'm scared of heights. And so we're driving up and down these hills, and I was terrified the whole time. But I didn't really enjoy it as much as I could because I was, too busy hyperventilating, going over these, like about to drop off the cliff.
Exactly. Yeah. But so it's there for a reason. But I have a fear of heights too. So I just gotta avoid roller coasters and things like that.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about affirmations?
One is that you can just do them for a couple of days and you should see monumental change. I mean, some people do get like immediate effects of feeling positive and looking for the good, but realizing that it took anywhere from years to decades to build up the current filter that you have, the current beliefs, the operating system that you're working from. So it's going to take a little bit of time to alter that filter and maybe readjust your, I guess what you call it, emotional set point, or maybe an attitudinal set point that you have. So knowing that it may, or if you get instant results, which I think that you can, great. But a lot of people say, I've been doing this for a week and I don't see any difference in my financial life or whatever. I haven't found the one yet. If if they're looking for a partner. And so so realizing that it's an ongoing, it's similar to like incorporating exercise and nutrition into your life. You have to make it a lifestyle and know that there are long-term benefits as opposed to a lot of short-term payoffs. Again, although I think many people have, just listening to one, can suddenly feel this sense of awakening. Other misconceptions, like mistakes that you can make, maybe. Like, I don't have a whole lot of hard and fast rules. I get thousands of comments on my YouTube videos, and a lot of people ask questions like, do I have to do them? Like, they want to know what the rules are. So they're asking, always asking. Because I have a lot of the ones where I encourage you to do the same one for 21 days in a row, or and they say, oh, I missed a day. Do I have to start all over? Or they're like so worried about doing it right. And basically, as long as you're just committed to it and doing it, there's no like hard and fast rules. As long as you're feeding your mind with positivity. If you skip a day, just come back the next day. If you want to mix them up and listen to a different one or different ones every day. So I'm pretty loosey goosey on not, you don't have to sit in a meditation room in a lotus position. You can listen while you drive, while you walk, while you clean or work out. The main thing is just to do it on a regular basis, preferably in the morning if you're only going to do it once. But like a mistake would be, or a misconception is anytime you do affirmations that are related to other people, like other people's feelings, other people's behavior, you get into a little bit of trouble. Your affirmations really need to be focused on you and how you show up. Because a lot of people will say like, oh, I want to get Cindy I want her to like me and go on a date and, be in a relationship with this particular person. And but doing affirmations about Cindy, I just made that name up, may not, because you don't have any influence over Cindy's feelings, Cindy's behavior, so you would, instead of making them about her or that person, you would say, I'm deserving of a loving partner. So it's about how do you show up? I'm just going to attract the ideal person into my life. So it may be Cindy, or maybe someone else who's even more amazing, And so try to make your affirmations about your feelings, about your behavior, about things that you have control over. That's one aspect of it. Another one is affirmations really should feel authentic to you. There's like two ways of looking at this. And the best example is using financial ones. So if you're really struggling and there's literally you're way behind on your bills and, or homes going into foreclosure, if you sit there and say, I am a millionaire, your brain's going to go, no, you're not. This is, or may, if you find your brain saying that, and if you feel like you're feeling worse after doing them, then just change the way that you word them. And so instead of saying I'm a millionaire or I'm abundant, you say, I am ready for a new relationship with money. I am eager to discover new streams of income. So that's true. No matter how much money you have in the bank, you are ready for a new relationship with money. You're eager to discover new streams of income. So say them that they feel authentic to you. And that's just a matter of rewording them. And it's something that speaks to you. It's still positive and it's moving toward what you want, but it speaks to where you are in that moment. And that could change from day to a day. Although there is something to be said for faking it until you make it. I had a friend of mine who I interviewed, who built like $1 million landscaping business. And as he was moving toward it, in the years, he used a lot of my affirmations in his practice, his daily practice. He says a lot of times he was saying, my company now makes grosses $1 million a year. And he said his mind was going, how's that possible? Like he had a little doubt in there, but he just was faithful to sticking to it. And it led to him seeing opportunities. So in that case, it worked for him. And so depending on how you want to approach it, if you're really getting a lot of resistance to the wording, then change the wording. But if it's not too bad, just lean into it and know that you're speaking to a place that you're moving toward that will manifest as long as you stay. That may manifest, yeah, if you stay focused on it.
Yeah, I mean, I have affirmations I say every single day. Like I almost have my goals and things that I want to bring into my life, things that I want to manifest, and I say them every single day, every single morning, and I say them like they've already happened. Like I'm almost stepping in like quantumly to where that space is and really trying to feel emotionally, how I feel when I've achieved that thing or whatnot. And because I think we're very, very powerful manifestors, we're very powerful co-creators of our existence. Can you talk a little bit about that and the power of manifestation, the law of attraction? Because I think it's very important to tell the universe what it is that you want and like command what it is that you want in your life every day in order to achieve that and receive that.
Sure. Do you mind, before I answer that question, do you mind sharing like one or two of the affirmations that you use? I would love to. I'm just curious.
I'd be happy to. Well, there's kind of
sorry, I put you on the spot here.
I hope you have some time because it's a little bit of a long list here. I'll have to find it. Here it is right here. So I'll just say all of them. I don't care. Let's see. I have a 1 million person email list. I have a 1 million YouTube subscribers. I have complete freedom and peace on all levels, spiritually, physically, geographically, mentally, psychically, financially, and in my romantic relationship. I produced a course, supplement line, book, cookbook, and film docuseries focused on anti-aging via bioenergetics, supplements, nutrition, and cutting-edge biohacking techniques. I've created a natural skincare product line, perfume, deodorant, and makeup line. That I bought the home I currently live in Playa del Carmen. I bought my dream ranch on Kauai, Hawaii, with a garden, fruit orchard, a stream, and waterfall, and view of the ocean. That I'm going to buy beachfront property in Mexico or Bali. That I've traveled to every country in the world that I want to visit. That I'm a naturopathic doctor. That I know the Spanish language fluently, that I'm an expert in bioenergetics, I'm a successful crypto investor, and I will meet the man of my dreams who's grounded, spiritual, intuitive, affectionate, open, flexible, intelligent, fun, authentic, honest, financially secure, emotionally healthy, loves travel, happy, romantic, handsome, and ready to have a relationship full of passion.
Wow.
So that's not a tall order at all.
Not at all. No,
So I want to get very specific here.
Yeah. I could swipe right on that dude. Is right good? Right's the one that I haven't done the dating.
I think I'm going to be single for a long time, but it's okay because I'm going to be patient.
Well, those are all huge visions. So congratulations. So let me ask you, I'm sorry, something's turning into a coaching session here, but how do you, so do those, and I don't know where you are, like in the early ones you said about the million subscribers, I don't know where you are in relationship to that, but how do they feel when you say them?
They feel very real. They feel very like cool. Those are happening. Yeah. And this is, and some of them are already happening. I mean, I started seeing these about 3 or 4 months ago. And I've already hired a YouTube consultant, already started, working on this anti-aging thing on, with MyersDetox.com. Already started working on a natural skincare line, already about to go into escrow on a property in Bali, Indonesia. Cool. Signed up to become a naturopathic doctor. A lot of these already are going into motion very, very quickly, because I'm saying them every single day.
That is so cool. That's so great to hear. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And so 2 things come to mind, or maybe 3. So, but basically, I'm just going to reiterate what I said earlier: is your affirmations have to feel good to you. They have to raise your vibration, And so, as long as they're that's the effect on you, then keep saying them. But you can always change things up. So again, I'm not a hard and fast, just make them work for you. The only thing I would really stress is that you do on a regular daily basis. You said you do these every morning, and you probably have been for months or years, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely, for last 6 months. At first, I had kind of smaller goals that I was staying, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go big. I'm going to make these bigger, badder, and hairier, and scarier, and really, take things up to another level.
Cool. Yeah. And that's a great a point. You can ratchet up. You can start at a certain level. If it feels like, okay, I think I'm ready to stretch a little bit. It's okay if like you say a number that makes you feel a little bit, oh, is that really, can I, it's like right outside of your reach. So those stretch goals are really good. As long as they're working for you. But yeah, so maybe you might, someone may have to start by saying, I'm ready for a new relationship with money, and then work your way up to saying I'm abundant and eventually I'm a millionaire, so as long as it's feeling good and moving you in that direction. I know it's a common thing with goal setting to visualize yourself already being there. And I've done that, and I still do. And it is very powerful that it pulls you toward it. However, I think it's also another thing that I suggest that people might do, because a lot of times people will envision that they're already there. And I know this doesn't, I know you're one who takes action, but some people can feel, like, remember I was at a Jack Canfield workshop years ago, and this woman stood up and she was talking about how I see myself as a rail thin supermodel, and therefore I feel like I'm already there and I can eat whatever I want. So like it wasn't positively influencing her behavior in the present moment, because she'd already was already there. And so sometimes people will just sit there with the vision, but they won't act on it. So in addition to visualizing already being there, I like to encourage people to visualize and do affirmations about the process, like what are the habits you have to develop? What's the behavior you're going to have to engage in to get to reach that goal? So in addition to seeing yourself with the book or the property or whatever, the lover, also see yourself sitting down.
The soulmate, not the lover.
Soulmate, not the the soulmate, who also one aspect with all that long list of adjectives.
I know. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's true. I'm going to find that person.
Yeah, but you can also visualize or affirm. Yeah, you add visualization to what you're saying. What's meeting them for the first time, having dinner, laughing. The silly things that are meaningful to you in the early stages of a relationship. In the case of writing a book, it's sitting down and the words are just flowing out of you, and you're enjoying the process. Building a business, it could be renovating a space or what. So but think about the behavior aspect of it. And so regarding the law of attraction and manifesting, so I put out a book actually back in April. It's my 16th book overall, but it's the first one on the topic of my YouTube channel. It's called The Power of Affirmations and Positive Self-Talk. It's been very well received. And in it, I kind of address the law of attraction a little bit. And in it, I kind of state up front that I'm very comfortable with the idea that I do not know all the answers. Like, I don't know how everything works. I mean, some people need to know this is the way it is, and so they cling to a religion or a spiritual dogma that helps them. That helps them answer those questions, and if that works for you, great. But I'm like, I have no idea how a lot of things happen, but I think I'm just amazed by the mystery of it all. Just trying to live my best life within it. So a lot of people regarding the law of attraction, and I just used the term this a little while ago, raise your vibration. A lot of people think that if I just think positive thoughts, I send this wave out into the universe, and people and circumstances are pulled to me. And I would love to think that's the way things work, because I also really am kind of geeky and into physics and how things work on that quantum level and all that's if you can really take a deep dive into that stuff, and there's some science that backs up things like that things happen, things that vibrate similarly are attracted to each other. But I ask myself, what if things aren't, that's not the way it works? Maybe even if things aren't magically, or people aren't attracted to me, what if just by doing these affirmations, I raise my own personal perception or my sense of optimism? I'm looking now for opportunities. So I'm spotting things. I'm noticing people, because instead of looking for obstacles, I'm looking for opportunities. Maybe my demeanor is more positive, so that person wants to talk, feels more comfortable about talking to me. They get a good vibe from me, but it's not really based on anything that's overly woo woo. Like, I'm not discounting that law of attraction could work on that vibrational level, but what if it doesn't? I think it's still just as magical to just change your perspective, upgrade and firm up your filter, like I mentioned a number of times, through which you see the world, and then you start seeing these things, and then when you act on them and you interact with the world, great opportunities will come your way. So I don't have a, so again, I'm not sure how it works, but that's what manifestation is for me. I guess it's set, it's kind of being clear about what I want. Cause I've done a lot of amazing things. I've published many books. I've built this YouTube channel. I've, recorded several albums of original music as a musician and got it out into the world. So that came originally as an idea, which is why I love the arts, because the arts is all about, I have this idea and I'm going to take action to either create this painting, create this play, create this, show or whatever, a piece of music. And then through action and intention, the physical thing is developed. But you can do that with the woo-woo aspect, or you can do that just with practical setting a goal, being positive, optimistically putting one foot in front of the other and creating that thing and then sharing it with people. So I kind of rambled on.
We're all about the woo here at Myers Detox.
That's
so yes.
I'm open to it all. Like I said, I don't discount anything. So, and my girlfriend is like woo 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 woo. So
she sounds fun. I like
her.
So
her name was Pookie, and she's been getting more and more involved with the channel, and her personality is as lively as her name.
Okay. I love it. Pookie.
But yeah, I describe myself as woo, and she's woo 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 woo. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any tips for us on making good use of affirmations? Like, I created my list of affirmations that work for me, and they're always evolving as things kind of come to me, as I kind of sitting still every morning and doing I call my meditations. I'm listening to guided meditations. Things will come to me as I'm sitting there kind of still, or like things I get excited about, or ideas, or things that I want, and I'll add them to my list. Some things I take off my list. So any other tips to give people about making their own affirmations? Yeah,
like I said, you can write your own. You can say them. You can speak them. You can say them in your mind. You can print them out and post them in places where you'll see them every day. A lot of people put them on the bathroom mirror, by the computer, on the refrigerator. Again, I guess the main way that I serve is serving people who want to hear them. And so in my recordings, the way they're set up, in case you didn't know, most of them, although I switch things up, I'll say an I am affirmation. It's the most common recording on my channel. Leave space for the person to repeat it back to themselves. You don't have to memorize them or read them. You can do that while you're driving, walking, whatever. I also have done you are affirmations, because a lot of times people don't get encouraging words from parents and mentors and teachers and so on. And so sometimes hearing someone say you're amazing, you are totally you are worthy and lovable and all that stuff. So I have a number of those. So regarding the recorded versions of affirmations that you listen to and repeat, I would suggest having a playlist. That's what a lot of people do. You can do this on Spotify. I have a growing number of my recordings in Spotify and Apple and all that, but YouTube's the main platform. People create playlists, and you can pick the topic of your choice. You can never go wrong with gratitude. Like, gratitude is a great just regular daily affirmation to do, where you just focus on counting your blessings. Because I believe it's like the foundation of personal growth. Like, appreciating truly what currently exists in your life opens the door for more. You can do both of those things. You can be ambitious and be eager for more, but still appreciate where you are now, even if your circumstances are not ideal. Then you choose affirmations based on what's important or what you're struggling with. So that could be abundance and money. It could be romance, love, finding your soulmate. I also have a lot of videos that are popular on success, on confidence. I have a number of them on health. And so we tend to kind of like a lot, I guess, don't know, lawyers and doctors or whatever usually people usually seek these things out when they're having issues. So yeah, quite often there's an area of your life that you're struggling with. I need to firm this up. I need to get more, a little bit a better perspective on this. Depending on what's happening into your life, you choose the affirmations that are going to speak to you. If you have a big public speaking or you're doing some kind of a talk and you're nervous about it, it's obviously something related to confidence, and it would be helpful. So really, yeah, you just tailor them to where you are, what's going to make you feel good. And then just doing it on a regular basis. If you're going to do it once a day, like we talked about, it sounds like that's what you do, Wendy, first thing in the morning, pretty much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. First thing in the morning or later, if something comes up, but yeah, I pretty much, I don't skip it.
And then sometimes I don't create a whole lot of these, although I have several of them, but the end of the day too is a great time before you, well, some people actually play them when they're designed to listen to as you drift off to sleep. So, but before bed, like if you can have that bookend effect where you start the day with setting an intention, you end the day by looking back on it and what are the lessons learned, what were some of the highlights, what am I grateful for that took place, and then set an intention so that you're going to sleep with that same positive perspective. That's a wonderful thing to do. And if you could throw them in the middle of the day, if you need to pick me up, certainly that would be good too. But I would say morning for sure. If you're going to do a second time before bed, and then whatever you want to throw in, if you really want to supercharge things, then you could print them and all this stuff. So depending on where you are in life, you might need, if you're coming out of a decades of, whatever depression or what, although I think there's certain, if it's an extreme case of depression I would seek out a professional help instead of just doing affirmations. But for the kind of typical human, kind of lost your mojo for a while, you may have to really turbocharge it and just take a deep dive for a while, and then you can get it set into a pattern of every morning. So those are some helpful tips, I hope.
Yeah, I love it as part of my kind of morning routine. It's just something like I really, really cherish, doing a guided meditation in the morning, because I don't really like regular meditation where I'm just sitting there being still. I like to be guided, and it just helps me to get into a certain space. I like meditations that have frequencies in them also that can, elicit various effects as well.
Right.
That I listen to, that I really like. But yeah, everyone's different, some what they like. So tell us, where do we find your guided meditations? Tell us what your YouTube channel is, your book.
Sure. I'll do all that. I just want to mention one thing. I mentioned a number of times that I'm a longtime musician, and lately, or actually over the past year, more and more, I throw in some musical affirmations where I'm saying them or even singing them over electronic dance beats. So that's another way that some people love it, and some people just prefer the more spoken words with mellow background music. But you can move your body and sing them. That's another like whole level of embodying them. So YouTube, just search for my name, Bob Baker, Baker, and put in the word affirmations. You probably won't need to. It should come right up to my main channel, and I would appreciate if you just subscribed so that you start getting notifications. And when I post at least 2 new videos every week, and then Pookie, my girlfriend, and I stream live every Sunday morning with something we call Sunday Inspiration. That's a lot of fun, where we get to interact with people live. There's like a global community of people that show up for that. My website for this type of work is bobbakerinspiration.com, and you can go there and find out more about that spoken word stuff that I do. And then the new book is called The Power of Affirmations and Positive Self-Talk. And it's available on Amazon, more than a dozen countries, Barnes & Noble, pretty much wherever books are sold online, in both paperback and ebook formats. Fantastic. And so would love to connect with your readers if they feel so inspired.
Fantastic. Well, Bob, thanks so much for coming on the show. And everyone, thanks so much for tuning into the Myers Detox podcast, where we talk about everything detox, but I want to get more into mindset and positive affirmations and how to, detox your mind as well and improve your life through the power of positivity. So thanks for tuning in today. I'm Wendy Myers of MyersDetox.com. I will see you guys next week.
The Myers Detox Podcast is created and hosted by Wendy Myers. This podcast is for information purposes only. Statements and views expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Wendy Myers and the producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. Individuals on this podcast may have direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.